Hi, it's Ed again, and this is September the 13th, 2020, and today I want to talk a little bit about something that I've been talking a little bit about lately and thinking about, and it's a problem fundamental to what I'm all about, atheist, a bird with no cage. And what I like to talk about is the conversation between religious folks and non-religious folks like myself. And one of the problems we run into that I haven't understood in the past is the problem of, like, from my perspective, when we're talking about religious things, the Bible or whatever God or holy book they're talking about, everything, it's one thing to understand the story and to understand what it's saying and everything, but my question, and the question from, if you want to say my side of the thing, is, okay, I understand the story, but is it true? And I mean, that's what we push on. Now, I noticed over the years, when I go to that, the is it true thing, you get a reaction right away. Like I have a friend, David, you heard me talk about before. David is a Jehovah's Witness, and he loves to talk about Bible stories, and he likes to talk about, it's a basic idea with Jehovah's is the idea that the Bible basically proves, or the Bible story and all of that proves, that Jehovah's Witness is the real religion, the one true religion of supported by the Bible. And I'm happy to have those conversations with them because, I read the Bible, and I particularly like now discussing the New Testament because I'm more familiar with that. I have read the Old Testament, but it's been a while. But anyway, the point I made to David is always, eventually, well, I enjoy talking about the Bible and Bible stories and everything, but one of my problems is, you understand that from my perspective, I'm an atheist, and that means I question right off the bat, does this Yahweh or Jehovah, one of the questions I pose is Yahweh and or Jehovah, is that the same thing or the same deity, the same person, or what? And I can't seem to get an answer about that. They don't seem to be sure, the people that I've talked to. Maybe there is an answer. Anyway, when I push on, okay, I understand the story you're telling me. Jesus died for our sins and all of that, and he suffered for us and all of that. I understand the story, but is it true? And it's kind of like, I've always wondered about why at that point in the discussion, the religious folks seem to get in a bit of a snit. They always say, well, of course it's true, I believe it's true and everything, but then it feels as though, nobody's ever said it, that they almost are leaning towards it. But what's the difference if it's true? It's a great story. This guy, the Son of God, came down to earth, and human beings had fucked up so severely somehow, although how that happened when God made us perfect, I don't know. It's crazy. But they want to say, it's such a great story that it doesn't matter if it's true. It's kind of like, it reminds me, maybe it's a little bit the way I feel about like Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell's, she's Peter Pan's friend or whatever, and I love the Tinkerbell story. But it's kind of like if I was telling somebody how much I like Tinkerbell and all of the things she does and how cute she is and all of that, and somebody goes, well, yeah, is it true? And I go, well, what do you mean? I don't care if it's true or not. Just a lovely story, and I like following it. So the whole point of that thing is, we get into this argument. I've had this discussion with my wife, and her and I've had this disagreement. She says, I don't believe that they believe what they say they believe, the religious people. She said, I can't believe that they, believe in the talking snake in Genesis, or the talking donkeys, or other talking animals, or the guy living in the big fish and the whale. Or she said, I don't believe that the religious people think that that's really true. And I've always argued with her, yes, they do think it's true. I know I've talked to lots of them. Now I'm starting to wonder if maybe that little bit of anger or pushback we feel when we question the truth or the veracity of the story is that very thing. It's their attitude. Maybe, what are you making this big deal about whether it's true or not? It doesn't really matter if it's true. It's such a wonderful story. It's just da-da-da. Okay. So maybe, I don't know where that gets us. What I need to do is to talk to more religious people. I talked to my friend David, the Jehovah's Witness guy, and posed this question to him. I don't know how I'd approach it without getting him upset, because it seems to be, you always come off sounding like you're accusing them of lying if you say, is it true? Is this Bible story true or everything? But I'm certainly not trying to claim that they're lying. It's just that it seems to, at one level or another, the truth doesn't matter. It's the story that matters. This wonderful story of Jesus, the Son of God, sent to earth to die for our sins and all that. The Jehovah's Witness, when I was at I've been at, I think, 4 Jehovah's Witness functions, or church meetings, or whatever they call them. And I remember one, I think it was the first one I went to, them talking about, they used a term that I'd never heard of before, the ransom, which is their term for Jesus coming down to earth and dying for our sins and all that. So that was a new term for me, and I don't think I've talked about it on these videos before. But the problem is, and it came true with David, when I pushed him to say, okay, let's talk about the idea of, does this Jehovah, Yahweh, or whatever, Jesus, does it really exist? And that's where I get this notice that he goes into an uncomfortable mode. And in fact, when we get to that time in the conversation, or that point in the conversation, he often kind of responds with, well, we can talk about that maybe at another time, but gee, I gotta go. And all of a sudden he doesn't want to talk anymore. So anyway, I'm not really solving any problem here, but throwing out this little different approach to what the religious folks are saying. And to mention one religious friend that I had a long conversation with, her name was Alice, and one of the few people I've ever talked to in my life that's older than I am. and certainly one of the old. She's 85. And we had a long conversation about religion. She's hyper-religious. And by the end of it, when I was pushing on the is it true thing, she started out with, well, yes, of course it's true. And it was kind of near the end of the conversation, and she kind of finally went, well, I don't care if it's true. I believe it. That's the important part. And it's the I believe it. Sometimes they say, I believe it, therefore it has to be true, but the I believe it is the important thing. So, maybe, I'm not sure where that gets me, if it makes me angry. Sometimes it does, because often in the middle of this thing, I'm getting told that if I don't believe, I'm going to hell, just because I don't believe. And it's, and they don't want to have the discussion about is it actually true or not. So I know it's a bit of a muddle, but I think it's just a slightly different spin on. I think when we talk about true, if maybe we can't agree on exactly what we mean when we say is it true or not. But to some religious folks at least, I think the story is what's important, and the fact that they believe it. I don't even know if they say, I believe it's true. I think they just say, I believe it, and that's as far as it goes. So this is getting long, so that's all I want to do for today. Jose and I have been talking about technology and what's going on in the business of making videos like this, and the technology that's available. Maybe in the next few videos you might see a little bit of a technological update where, I don't know, we're talking about it. I don't know how much money I want to spend and whatnot. Anyway, that's all for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, bye.